There are different reasons for deletion of names. But as I said, the preciousness of our elections, given that to subject lakhs of people to harassment.
Frankly, I feel 2 weeks is very, very little of a time for an exercise as massive as this to be conducted.
I moved to Gurgaon from Delhi 10 years ago. My name is still not on the rolls, and this is not for lack of trying. I'm listed in the last this thing as the father of my husband under that address.
For people to be placed, for the 60 lakh people to be placed under adjudication, it's a very simple thing. You have to give a reason. Why you are being adjudicated, why you are being deleted.
On the program this evening, we are going to talk about the Special Intensive Revision, the SIR exercise which is taking place in West Bengal. There are multiple reports that now suggest that as many as 91 lakh people have been disenfranchised, which means 91 lakh people's names have been struck off the electoral rolls. 91 lakh less people will vote in the West Bengal elections. Now, a number of things emanating from this figure. Number one, slightly less than a crore people will be not voting in the election. Are all these people fake voters? Have all of them either died or migrated, moved to somewhere else, or are just false voters? What about the multiple cases that one hears from West Bengal of rightful citizens of West Bengal not being allowed to vote or their name being struck off? What about their rights? And the biggest point, since this exercise is happening so close to the election, is there literally no space left for a right to legal recourse or a right to recourse? And if this happens, and now is the most important question, who is it going to affect politically? Who will benefit politically? Who will lose politically? Is this an anti-TMC move or is this an anti-BJP move? What does the Election Commission have to say about these large-scale deletions? We discuss. Alright, joining us right now are two senior journalists who have been tracking each and every detail as far as the Special Intensive Revision is concerned, not just in West Bengal, but across the country. We are talking in the context of West Bengal because that is the state which is going to polls. 91 lakh deletions so far. What is this going to mean in the election? There are political allegations that this is an attempt being made to hand a victory to the Bharatiya Janata Party. But is that really the case on the ground? Joining us right now, our senior journalist, Neerja Chowdhary, as well as Shikha Mukherjee. Thank you very much. Both learned senior colleagues in the profession and with years and years and decades of experience. Thank you so much. We'll begin one by one. First, I want to begin with you, Ms. Shikha Mukherjee. In West Bengal, this 91 lakh deletions and the Election Commission itself becoming a party in this election, where it is singling out the Trinamool Congress and saying that this time the election will be free and fair and there'll be no booth jamming. What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, first and foremost, let me say this, that the 91 lakh, the total number, you see, we've been hearing about deletions and adjudication for a long time. But after the 58 lakh deletions on account of death, absent, duplicate, and shifted, it was like, okay, this maybe there is a mistake. Maybe it's not 58, but it may be something in double-digit numbers. And then you have this 91 lakh. It hits you between the eyes. It stirred up a huge, I mean, even people, I mean, there are two categories of people. One is the less urban, less educated people who, and less sophisticated, intellectually sophisticated people who have been talking about the EC and the BJP as um, as kind of alternative identities. Then, after it gets to this 91, it's almost as though all the across the board, from those who are cosmopolitan Bengalis to the less educated with strong rural roots, they are all kind of clubbing the EC and the BJP together. They're sort of turning both into the kind of perpetrator of whatever has happened. Now that is a very interesting phenomenon because West Bengal has a fairly politically educated population, and this kind of merging of identities is an indication that whatever else has happened, the election commission has um, lost credibility. It has become what Bengalis have always talked about, which is the center's imposition of a particular blueprint on West Bengal, and along with it, it sort of drags the BJP into this by saying, no, but the election commission functions in the orders of the BJP. Now, this has become the general story that I have been hearing for the past 3 days, and I've been talking to lots of people about it. It is a perception that the election commission has done nothing to correct. And when it says it's going to hold free, fair, and whatever kind of violent, whatever peaceful elections it's going to do, the point is everybody is questioning whether it knows its own work. Because, and that's something that Sanket, you and I were talking about, if 1 in 10 people in West Bengal have been deleted from a list, then every one of us knows at least one, if not many more, people who have been wrongfully deleted. Now, if that is the story that is circulating, and I can assure you that these are conversations that are emerging in almost every call or every person that you meet. It's not entirely blanket, but a very large proportion of people who are going to vote have come to the conclusion that the election commission has done a bad job. And it has targeted Bengal because that is the way the center has always looked at politics.
Reasonable doubts have been raised on the manner in which the SIR exercise has been conducted in West Bengal. Fair enough. Now, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary, just want to understand from you your impressions of what is being said vis-a-vis the SIR exercise. One is, of course, a political commentary, and then the other is statement of fact, which is not being explained properly by the election commission. How do you view this exercise?
There are two parties to what is appearing to be a spat. The ruling party, the Trinamool Congress, feels that it is a violation of the democratic rights because the non-conduct of free and fair elections, and elections, remember, we have a very flawed democracy, but elections have been the heartbeat of India's democracy. So we've been very proud of it. And whoever has sat in the chair of the chief election commissioner, as they say, he sits, he becomes impartial. Over the years, we've seen this happen, even though they are appointed by the government. So on the other hand, the election commission says that this is a routine exercise. What we are doing is absolutely fair. It is to clean up the electoral rolls. I would say two things: that perception in a democracy matters a great deal. If a large party going to the polls feels that uh, justice is not being done to them, then the election commission, which is an umpire and more than an umpire, has to do something about it, because the Caesar's wife, as they say, has to be above suspicion, and more so in our democratic setup, given the stakes that are involved. So the other thing, of course, is the haste with which it has been done. Why do it now? While the exercise is on, 19 tribunals are set up to adjudicate. It's as if, why get into this situation? Why could not have the elections been postponed till this exercise was completed? The other thing, of course, that worries you is the large number of those deleted. Now, that may well be fair. People have died, people have migrated, and so on. But 91 lakhs is no small number. And it also shows that the Election Commission has not done what it should have done over the years to clean up the rolls. Therefore, many questions have been raised which make you unhappy. I'm not making charges against the Election Commission, but certainly one would like the Election Commission to clear up these very niggling kind of questions and unhappiness in people about what is happening, particularly when it is elections at stake. And free and fair conduct of election is something we've all been very proud of in India.
Yes, Miss Shikha Mukherjee, do you feel that this will be a subject matter of discourse as to how fast the alacrity being shown in carrying out this SIR exercise, it being done in haste, it being expedited just before the elections, almost to meet a target, rather than spread it out evenly at a time which is perhaps a, for lack of a better word, non-combat period, when you don't have the sword hanging of an election? Should this exercise have not been done earlier, so that if there is any wrongdoing, it's only human to err, then it could have been rectified or remedied? Ms. Shikha
Okay,
Mukherjee.
Sanket, let me start by saying this. There is nothing routine about this SIR. This SIR has been conducted in a way which is extraordinary. Why? Because first and foremost, it's almost like a punishment on the people of West Bengal. And I'll be very direct about this. The SIR is announced. It's happened in Bihar. We are told almost as a threat. I have voted in Bengal. This is my reaction. I am told as a threat that this will be done to you. We will clean up the electoral rolls. There will be a process of purification. There will be no Ghuspetias. And then this extraordinary statement in Parliament. The purpose of SIR is detect, delete, deport. And then there are these there are these stories which went into circulation saying, if your name is not on the electoral roll after the SIR is completed, then your bank accounts will be frozen. All kinds of, and you may not be able to travel abroad if that is the category of persons you belong to. All of these there is an environment, a narrative which is built up about the SIR even before it began. And then when it did begin, it was like, proof, give us proof, give us verification, documents, please produce the documents. And then what do you find? You find many things. One is that if an SIR process had happened routinely, normally, as it has usually happened in this country, then a person like Amartya Sen or the former foreign secretary would not be questioned as to who they are and why their names or why there are any discrepancies, logical or otherwise, in their data. It is also, if that had been a normal, usual routine exercise, then it cannot happen that a mother is on the electoral roll and the son and granddaughter have been deleted from it. That just cannot happen. So somewhere there is a huge flaw in how this exercise has been implemented. Because if this were a routine exercise, and we've been through SIRs in the past, 2002 is the checklist that is being used, we've never had to face this kind of question of a grandmother being on the list and the son and granddaughter being missing. A mother is on the list, her daughter is missing. How is that even possible? If the EROs and the BLOs had been allowed to do their work, there would have been none of this nonsense. There would have been none of this nonsense of people with passports who have traveled overseas, them being deleted from the SIR, from the post SIR list. How is all of this happening? Now, it suggests that at considerable expense, the Election Commission has botched it. I've just received some figures from someone, which is very interesting. Says that in the initial phase of the deletions, meaning up to the final publication of final list, 5 lakh, 57 lakh Hindus, 57.47 lakh Hindus were deleted. And then Muslims, 31 lakh Muslims were deleted. But then suddenly, when this final list is published and the under adjudication category comes out, then you find that 8,37,116 Hindus are under adjudication, and the number of Muslims under adjudication jumps to 17,65,475. Now, I'm not saying that these figures are correct or whatever, but these are figures which have been sent by somebody who should know what these figures are. So I'm just saying that even if one takes these numbers as indicative and not fact, then it suggests that something has happened in between. And the Election Commission has the other issue, and I'm going to raise this very strongly, is that the court, the Election Commission or the spokespersons of the BJP are routinely talking about the fact, no, all this adjudication and other processes are court directed. The Election Commission has nothing to do with it. Now that's nonsense.
I think the point that she was making, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary, was important. When you go into review on a certain exercise, whatever decision has been taken in a special intensive revision has to be sound. There has to be sound logic. I want to ask you a basic question, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary. Do you feel that the reasons being given for the deletions are sound in nature?
Reasons being given in a generic way, you're saying? For every deletion, there is a different reason given. It could be, as I said, people have died. It is that people have gone somewhere else and migrated. What is the real reason? Is it Guspetias? There are different reasons for deletion of names. But as I said, the preciousness of our elections, given that to subject lakhs of people to harassment that you see today, lining up in queues, desperate to get their documentation in order in time. Then if they are deleted, then you rush to the tribunal and get that sorted out. If at all it will be sorted out. And if it's not, then you go in appeal. I mean, the whole process is not user friendly as it should be. After all, you are a proud voter of a proud country, a democratic country. You can't subject your citizen, your voter, to this kind of harassment, particularly if they are from marginalized, poorer sections. So that aspect, that part of it, the soundness that you talk about, is something that could have been done differently. And now if they go to court, and the court stays it. I don't know what the court, whether they'll go to court, whether the court, what the line the court will take on this. Is it the whole exercise goes up, for a 6. And you're so close to 23rd and 29th of April are not far away. And today, two states in Puducherry, there are elections being held. And in the Ponda by-election in Goa, that has been cancelled because the court has suddenly taken the view that only 1 year is left of the term, so what's the point of going in for it? While the election was only hours away. So, I mean, you have to be on sure footing. The election commission has to get this right. Of course, the electoral rolls must be fair. Of course, you should not have people on electoral rolls who are not genuine voters. That goes without saying. And the election commission has to ensure that. But can it not be done differently? And can it not be done in a way that it doesn't arouse suspicions of, as they say, Milli Bhagat between the election commission and the ruling party at the center?
But as of now, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary, do you feel that it does arouse that suspicion? Does it? In the manner in which it's happening?
Yes, it does. It raises a lot of questions in people's mind. Even those, who may not think that Dandlebazi big time, but they say, why is this happening? Why is this happening? That something is not right somewhere. It doesn't leave you with the reassurance that things are fine.
Yeah. Shikha Mukherjee, sorry, we lost you. The last point that you were making.
No, the last point that I was making is very simple. That for people to be placed, for the 60 lakh people to be placed under adjudication, it's a very simple thing. You have to give a reason why you are being adjudicated, why you are being deleted. Now they've chosen in the 3 or 4 cases that have been dealt with on an emergency basis, they've chosen not to give a reason. The election commission says it's a technical error. Now, one case is a Congress candidate from Farakka. In his case, the ex-Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court says that an Aadhaar card is proof of identity. Then we get a report saying that the great-grandson of Nandulal Bose, who has complained that his name has been deleted from Nandulal Bose being the illustrator of the Indian Constitution, his name has been deleted, and so there is this uproar, and there is a kind of nudge from the Supreme Court saying, please get this done. And this is exceptionalism. The Election Commission needs to get its act together. Incidentally, those tribunals, 19 tribunals, which are supposed to be dealing with these cases, they haven't started their work. These are 3 or 4 cases which have been taken on an emergency basis. Now, from the 23rd of March, when the tribunals were supposed to be set up, today is the 9th of April. 2 weeks, over 2 weeks. And a tribunal can't be set up in this country in 2 weeks. That is really stretching.
No, it's bizarre, especially because you've got a deadline of an election looming, and it's not fair. It is not fair that people do not get a chance to be heard in a tribunal and have very little time. Frankly, I feel 2 weeks is very, very little of a time for an exercise as massive as this to be conducted.
2 weeks, and for 2 weeks nothing happened. So at least,
this is,
that is even more bizarre. You had the 2 weeks and then you didn't do anything about it. This is like when the adjudication process started for over a week of 10 days, I now forget which, but closer to 10 days, 10 to 15 days, the election commission kept saying, we're setting up the software, we're doing this, we're doing that. Come on. Everybody, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary, do you feel that the courts at least must intervene? We've seen this matter go to courts in the past also. We also saw Mamata Banerjee arguing this case in court herself. But is this a fit case for a legal intervention or judicial intervention?
There's no other way. Where else do you go? The ultimate authority for conducting the elections is the election commission. And if the election commission is the body about which you have doubts, their intentions and how they're doing things, then where else do you go but the courts? And it's true what you say. In February, Mamata Banerjee appeared in the Supreme Court and herself, as CM of the state, argued for her state. And that apart, that politically it was a very smart move. You know, the picture went viral and she knew what she was doing. But yes, I think the courts, if the certain parties go to courts, the courts will have to take a view on this.
My final question, one by one, first to Ms. Neerja Chowdhary. If electoral rolls are being revised in a country where the population is growing and we are adding more voters, people are turning older, at the same time, I can understand that people are migrating and moving. How is it, Ms. Neerja Chowdhary, that we are only hearing of deletions and not additions, so that the sum total is a balance? How is it happening in this country that people are getting disenfranchised en masse?
And more importance is being given to deletions than to additions. I must tell you this, Sanket. I moved to Gurgaon from Delhi 10 years ago. My name is still not on the rolls, and this is not for lack of trying. I'm listed in the last this thing as the father of my husband under that address. So if that happens to me, can you imagine, what happens? And I mean, I don't know how to finally get it corrected, despite making efforts. So yes, more effort needs to be given to people getting on the rolls. Certainly, people, it's true that people have been on the rolls who should not have been there and continue to be there, and others vote for them. That also is a very important part of the exercise, to which importance needs to be given. But enough time, as you say, non-election period, people feel, yes, my voice has been heard, even though my name was deleted, I've been told the reasons for it. I think that is as important as casting a vote.
Absolutely. I mean, I will only exercise my franchise when I have my franchise. If I have been disenfranchised and I have no window or facility to order a course correction, then it becomes very difficult. Shikha Mukherjee, final word. Do you feel that this question will be asked of constitutional bodies like the Election Commission? Why so many deletions in a country where ideally there should be additions as well?
See, Sanket, the data is out there. We have a bulge of people in the reproductive age group. We have a huge base, but we have a bulge, and then it tapers off at the top because the number of older people, while growing, is not as large as the base. Therefore, yes, there should have been additions. There should have been a massive exercise in getting people enfranchised. The Election Commission was not focused on doing that, not in West Bengal at least. All that they were focused on was detect, delete, and deport. I will repeat this. If the government of the day, regardless of what its ideology is, declares in Parliament that the purpose of an SIR is to detect, delete, and deport, this seems to be what the Election Commission has done with a vengeance. I think that's about all that I can say about this exercise.
Yeah, I mean, there is also this argument of CAA and NRC making a backroom entry. I mean, this is conversation which is pretty much on. But I think the point and the deduction that one can take post this conversation from our two guests is this time was of essence, and this exercise should have been taken in a non-election time so that people would have had the right to legal recourse, in case something wrong had happened. Right now, they have very little time. Thank you very much, Shikha Mukherjee as well as Neerja Chowdhary, for joining us. Thank you so much.